afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the City of Madeira Beach Board of Commissioners Special Workshop Meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 16th, and the time is 5:30. Would the City Clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Poe?
Here.
Commissioner Lister?
Here.
Commissioner Hodges?
Here.
Commissioner Shantz? Here. Mayor Palladino?
Here. Mr. City Manager, would you please proceed with topic number 1?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all for coming in a little bit early. Mr. Steve Tart is here from CPWG. He is the engineer that's doing our undergrounding project. And just to introduce the topic, and the reason why I wanted to have this special meeting was, you know, this is one of those workshop type things, and I didn't want to just put it on the agenda assuming somebody would make a motion to approve or disapprove of it, because I wanted Steve to explain it a little bit. But when we bid this out, LED lighting at that time it just wasn't in the budget, and things have changed a little bit, and so fiscally we can afford this. I think it's safe to say, and I think I put in the memo, you know, when you're buying a new TV, if you don't buy an LED or if you're buying a plasma, you're kind of buying old technology. And so if we don't go with the LED, I think it's safe to say that you're going to put in old technology in terms of lighting. And Steve will either tell me I'm crazy, but I think he'll confirm that. And it's a relatively affordable upgrade if you want to do it now. And I know we don't like spending outside the budget, and I'm in line with that, but this is one of those instances where you may want to take a consideration, because this is the lighting you'll have up and down Gulf Boulevard for as long as the lights that you see currently are up. So with that, Mr. Mayor, if you will, I would ask you to invite Mr. Steve Tart up to the podium, and he can explain this a little bit in more detail.
Mr. Tart.
Good evening, everyone. I guess we can talk about the first part, which is the LED lighting. This is a topic that we broached a few months back and had some discussions with city staff, and we were finally around to the point of bringing it to the change order to you guys. And it is the addition of the LED lighting between 155th to 500 feet south through the intersection of Tom Stewart Causeway. And so the fees are basically, the majority of the fees are a small engineering fee, and then there's a fee from Duke Energy for their part. And then it's the additional equipment and undergrounding effort to actually put the conduit in, put the pole bases in, and all the equipment that's associated with the lights. And so with the LED, it also increased the number of poles in that stretch of the corridor. So that's,
Did you say increase the number of poles or decrease?
no, increase.
Increase, okay.
I think it added, I forget, I think it was a dozen poles as I recall, but don't hold me to that number. I don't have that information with me. So that's one part of the discussion. And of course, the other part is the bollards for the crosswalks, which, in our opinion, you know, safety is of the utmost concern. And anytime you can add lighting on a pedestrian right-of-way, especially at night, that is a help. And so that's the reason we were asked about that and pulled you guys together a proposal for that and that number.
Mr. Mayor, if you go into your agenda report or into your packet for later in tonight's meeting, Vince, Mr. Tenalia did a very nice job of I always call it the McMenu. You know, you can kind of see where the costs are in terms of the bollards, the conversion design, and then converting from HPS to LED. And Mr. Tart, is it safe to say, I don't want to call it yesterday's news, but if you go with the HPS, I mean, basically it's...
Yes. Yeah, Duke Energy actually is throughout their territory is talking to all municipalities about switching from high-pressure sodium to LED.
So again...
It's an energy savings, and also it's less maintenance longer term.
I was going to say, and Mr. Marcicano's here, but obviously the LED lighting is something that lasts longer, so it's less maintenance, and I think, you know, in a roundabout way, I can't say that it would pay for itself, but it's certainly probably worth the investment. But you can kind of pick and choose from those numbers if you want to do bollard lighting, or if you want to just do the LED, or all of the above, or none of the above. But I did want to ask, and Vince and I had a talk about at the department head meeting. Vince, can you explain to them from a budgetary standpoint how we would pay for this?
Yeah, so to this point, we have been using the reimbursement funds available from Pinellas County for their Gulf Boulevard beautification project, and we still have funding available to do that. My only comment with respect to that funding, and I mentioned it to the city manager, is that it's essentially, you know, zero-sum funding at this point. So anything we add out of that funding represents something that we can't, of course, use the remaining funding for. So I would just, you know, suggest keeping that in mind. But the funding is there for whatever it is that the City Commission chooses to do with Gulf Boulevard. this is certainly an eligible expense within that category.
Mr. City Manager, on funding, is that part of that funding using some of the BP funds?
No, this is straight from the county, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
Mr. Tenali.
And I know that, I believe the last time the commission, we discussed something, was actually using some of those funds for beautification, so I didn't know if that was something that we could cover.
We have discussed that. It's my recommendation that we exhaust the beautification funds first while we have this system in place and while we have the outstanding debt corresponding to that funding source. It's my recommendation that we exhaust that first and in the meantime, save the BP funding for another project. It could certainly be, we could use that funding, for instance, for what would become the second phase of utility undergrounding south of 150th or anything along those lines.
And Mr. City Manager, just back to you for a second. I know that in the big seat of Barrier Island Governmental Council that we have a group that oversees or looks at these projects. Would this have to go in front of them before?
No.
Or is this already approved because they approved the undergrounding for payment for the
Right,
county
I think
money?
just, for lack of a better term, Mr. Mayor, and forgive me for a little CYA, I just put a nice memo or letter together, let them know that we're adding this, but it's certainly not going to be denied. I mean, it's all,
Okay.
frankly, it's all safety features, to be quite honest,
Okay.
even the lighting.
And I know Clearwater moved forward doing theirs. I think Clearwater moved forward and doing LED lighting on
I believe they did.
Yes, they did.
One question, Mr. Mayor. Steve, do you have a ratio of more poles? Obviously, undergrounding, we try to get rid of some poles. Are we 50 foot closer? Are we 20 foot closer? How,
I don't know, but I'll get back to you with that from the engineer that's on this project.
is the height?
They're definitely closer.
Or is the height lower?
No, the height will be, should be the same.
Okay. And the poles are made out of
Aluminum.
aluminum?
Aluminum or, I'm going to assume aluminum.
Mr. Tart, if I'm not mistaken, the board chose a fixture that's somewhat similar, represents the one at Archibald Park, right?
Yes,
The fixtures we
right,
use there.
right, but a lot of that's dictated by Duke and FDOT.
Right,
So they got as close as they could.
yep.
I don't remember it. I'll find out both of those issues for you.
Are you familiar with the fixtures that they just put down Central Avenue over there in Treasure Island? Those are LEDs.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Does anybody else have any other questions for Mr. Tart? Is there any more comments from staff?
No, only, I think we would like to have some thumbs up or thumbs down on what you want to do, because later on in the agenda, either we're going to have to calculate a number if you want to pick and choose from the menu, so to speak, or if you want to do all of the above or none of the above. So if you want to do the whole shebang, if you will, that's $110,434. Mr. Tenali, if I'm not mistaken, am I correct? And if you want to, for instance, say, you know what, Shane, the LED is not a good idea, but we just want to do the bollards, then you're at a $40,000 price tag. So it's up to you as a commission how you would like to proceed.
And I'm sorry, Steve, one more question. I kind of noticed that the difference between different areas and their lighting. I know our lighting's a real low amber lighting. That LED would be a little brighter.
It will be brighter.
Now, is that going to be any issues with the turtle people? We're far enough. That's
Too far off.
Okay. Because it is very dark, even with all the lights working on Gulf Boulevard.
Yeah, that's going to improve significantly with the LED.
Thank you.
One question, Mr. Mayor. As we continue down Gulf Boulevard, you're saying that Duke Energy had to do extra work or more work to get these ready? Are they going to be prepared for that if we
They are.
decide to do that?
Yes.
Going into the future, so it's not going to be so much of a
Yes.
change order in the.
That is correct.
If any,
Yeah, moving forward, there won't be a change order. That'll be part of,
it'll be in through the.
that'll be in the second phase. Correct.
Okay.
Commissioner, what's your pleasure?
I think we should do it. We can't, Gulf Boulevard is so dark at night, and I don't even care if we're up here or we're down in the middle of town or where we are. So you won't get a better chance, gang, than this. So let's get it done.
If we save one life, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Mr. State Manager, I think we can only do that on consensus since it's a workshop. We can't call for it.
Right,
Correct.
and so then, Mr. Mayor, when it comes up later on the agenda, there's
Okay.
no modification that's needed for the number that's in the resolution.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tart. All right. Seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 5:39.